I call the member for Whitsunday.
Thanks very much, Mr Acting Speaker. I rise to also make a contribution this morning in relation to the Natural Resources and Other Legislation Amendment Bill, and I want to echo the sentiments of many of my colleagues, particularly on this side of the right side of the, as I look at your left side, Mr Acting Speaker of the Chamber, in raising various concerns on this in relation to this omnibus bill. Almost 240 pages has been noted by a number of honourable members. The explanatory notes themselves almost 130 pages. Makes me wonder how many trees have been chopped down for that. I think of the Cathy State Forest in my own electorate, sold off by the former Labor government, Mr Acting Speaker.
Member, I'll bring you back to the long title of the bill. You have the call.
Appreciate your guidance, Mr Acting Speaker. As I say, that's a lot of trees involving the printing of those pages, Mr Acting Speaker. And, well, there's a cure for insomnia in the eyes of some people. I take the interjection from the member for Logan. Go back to play school. But, Mr Acting Speaker, can I just say that I want to reiterate 29 Acts of Parliament, almost 30 Acts of Parliament. I see the sniggering of the member from Moggle because he's right in his body language here, Mr Acting Speaker, saying it is just absurd. This is like a super deluxe burger on steroids. There's a bit of everything in it. And there's some good stuff in the burger, Mr Acting Speaker, but some bad stuff. And that bad stuff includes the removal of the provisions regarding the Foreign Land Ownership Register and the transparency, Mr Acting Speaker, that goes with that. Now, as Regional Queensland's only independent MP, Mr Acting Speaker, I welcome foreign investment in this country. In fact, we wouldn't have the Bowen Basin as we have it today. And that is something that both sides of the parliament can agree on. We've heard the Minister for State Development crowing about Olive Downs. It's great for the communities of the Mackay-Whitsunday region, but on the same side, we still wait for the opening up of the Galilee Basin. I come back to my own electorate, Mr Acting Speaker, in relation to the Foreign Land Ownership Register, which is very different. I take the interjection from the Minister, Mr Acting Speaker. It's very different to what we see out of Canberra with the Foreign Investment Review Board. And so the lack of transparency in relation to these changes concerns me enormously. It concerns the tourism industry. It concerns the agricultural industry. We've seen the comments that have been flagged by a number of members in this parliament in relation to this debate on the back of the feedback from AgForce. And speaking of feedback, of course, what was it, 15 business days, Mr Acting Speaker? 15 business days between when the bill was tabled and the closing of submissions? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It was all over like that, Mr Acting Speaker, and that's not good enough. Nearly 30 acts of parliament. Nearly 30 acts.
Order, members. Order, members. Member for Whitsunday has a call.
Thank you, Mr Acting Speaker. And as a number of members have alluded to...
Order, members. Member for Whitsunday has a call.
Thank you, Mr Acting Speaker. Thank you, Mr.
Member for Whitsunday has the call.
Thank you, Mr Acting Speaker. And interesting to see the guidance coming from a member to your right, Mr Acting Speaker. However, going back to the wide-ranging provisions of this bill, and the member for Ujaroos touched on Indigenous economic opportunities, and that shouldn't be lost on all members here. We need to be empowering our Indigenous communities in terms of economic advancement and opportunities. The establishment of Clean Co, one of the provisions. Well, I would have liked to have seen the establishment of Clean Coal Co. Clean Coal Co. What a novel concept that would have been, Mr Acting Speaker, in a high-efficiency, low-emissions coal-fired power station in Collinsville to bring power prices down. But we've got Clean Co. I wonder what that means for my constituents in the Whitsundays who are fed up with power prices going through the roof, whether they're irrigators in the cane farming sector or just mum and dads and households. They've had enough of that. But the submissions, as I say, Mr Acting Speaker, closing within 15 business days of when the bill was tabled in the House. And look, how big is it? How big is it? It's bigger than Ben-Hur, bigger than 10 bears, bigger than some of the egos to the members across the chamber, Mr Acting Speaker. Yeah, well, you're looking in the mirror, Minister. Thank you, Mr Acting Speaker.
Direct your comments through the chair, member for Whitsunday, not across the chamber.
Absolutely.
You have the call.
Absolutely, Mr Acting Speaker. But we've seen the comments that have come through from AgForce and the QRC and their concerns here, and I share those concerns from what I've read up in relation to this bill. As I say, it's a massive bill, an omnibus bill, 29 acts of parliament to be impacted here. And it was interesting to hear the comments, Mr Acting Speaker, earlier in the debate from my former LNP colleague, if I may say so, the member for Southern Downs, when he was touching on the reaction from one former Treasurer of Queensland, the Honourable Keith de Lacy, Mr Acting Speaker. It's interesting to see that sort of stuff gets played out here in the Parliament, given the context of this. Keith de Lacy obviously has some reservations about it, otherwise we wouldn't have heard a boo from him in relation to these matters. Look, there are some good things in this bill, Mr Acting Speaker, but there's some lemons here. There's some lemons here. The Shadow Minister knows it, members on this side of the House know it, and I certainly know it. And I've got enormous concerns there, as I say, the time frame, the scrutiny, but the removal of the foreign land ownership register, it does concern me. And the comments that have come through from AgForce, and as I say, I think of the agricultural sector, the grazing sector in the Mackay-Whitsunday hinterland, the tourism sector. You know, without foreign investment, where would we be? We actually have Daydream Island back online on the back of foreign investment.
Order, members. Order, members. Member for Logan. Member for Whitsunday, you have the call.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. And it's complementary with local investment. We look at the Oatley family in tourism in my electorate. We look at a small operator like Helen Scott on Long Island, complementing the investment from foreign investment in relation to Hayman Island, which is coming back online, and Daydream Island, which has already come back online. So, look, I have got these concerns and the transparency that goes with the changes to the Foreign Land Ownership Register. That register, and it's important that my constituents and the people of Queensland more broadly understand that is completely different to what comes out of Canberra with the Foreign Investment Review Board and the shareholding minister being the Treasurer and signing off on that stuff, and the thresholds that have changed over the years. Because that gets a lot of media attention, Mr Acting Speaker, as honourable members would be aware, no matter where they sit in the chamber. So the Foreign Land Ownership Register, under the auspices of the Queensland Government, very different to the FIRB and the provisions there. And my concerns are that there will be a change in terms of transparency there, and I don't think that is a step in the right direction. I think it's important that my concerns are flagged here in the chamber today. As I say, it's a massive bill. It's too big. It's way too big in hindsight. And there hasn't been proper scrutiny and a proper amount of time for that scrutiny involving the key players, which is a pretty wide gamut right across the length and breadth of this state.
Mr Acting Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Mogul. Before